Kidnap is a 2017 thriller starring Halle Berry as a distraught mother who takes it upon herself to chase a pair of kidnappers after she witnesses them shamelessly taking her child away in a public area. The question remains, how fast can her soccer mom van really go?
Let me tell you something. You took the wrong kid.
I heard about this movie a couple years ago when it came out, but then I let time pass, and then I forgot all about it, and then I remembered, oh yeah, that movie, I might as well check it out now. Going in, I knew this wasn't going to be anything special, anything unique, anything really original, but that doesn't always matter. Sometimes the viewer watching just wants to escape a little bit, just wants a little bit of excitement in their life where they just have fun watching a movie. If it got things right along the way, then great, fantastic, wonderful, let's get into it. The vast majority of the scores in the people category is cinematically monotonous. Nothing stands out in a good way or a bad way, other than the acting, which comes out as terrible. I know the actors, specifically Halle Berry, are trying very, very hard to convey emotion in a way that's real and natural to them. But there's something wrong with the script, there's something wrong with the dialogue, there's something wrong with the sound mixing when it comes down to dubbing over the audio. It just sounds wrong, it sounds fake, it sounds produced, which in effect makes the acting just seem horrible. Apart from that, what stood out to me was there's not enough characters, and there never needs to be a lot of characters, but what they usually need is some kind of protagonist, some kind of antagonist, and of course an influence character, even if it's just back and forth dialogue that they need. Even if you're looking at Castaway with Tom Hanks solely on the island, it's just him, right? No, there's Wilson too. Wilson plays the influence character. Through Tom Hanks' character's voice, there was nothing like that in Kidnap. There was no influence character, and because of that, you have Halle Berry talking to herself non-stop throughout the film. And every time she does, it takes you out of the movie a little bit, which I'll get into in the writing category. The people category gets 9 out of 20 possible stars. In any normal circumstance, people wouldn't be talking to themselves. They wouldn't be slowing down and talking to God about what they want out of life and making sure that it happens for them. It wouldn't. They'd just be acting. They'd just be going after what they said after. You don't need a lot of dialogue for movies. Just look at Castaway. If you actually pay attention to Castaway, they barely talk, ever. While it is important to have a voice in a movie, it's also important to know when there's too much voice. In this case, there's too much voice. It takes you out of the movie every time Halle Berry apparently says anything. What can I say about the writing in the rest of the movie? It's easy. Nothing about what happens in this movie is actually challenging to any degree. It's literally just one person going after the next throughout the movie. That's it. That's the entire movie. Whenever you have something like that, a part of you feels like you're wasting your time watching it, even though it is kind of exciting, it is kind of fun. There's just no depth or weight to what's actually happening in the movie that actually pulls the audience in on an emotional level. The writing category gets 5 out of 10 possible stars. A lot of times with action movies specifically, you get a good idea of what's going on behind the scenes. You could tell that there was a lot of work being done there. The camera work in this movie does a really good job contributing to the overall sense, the tone, the story itself. And the editing does the same thing because there's a lot of quick shots that help your heart pound a little bit harder in these tense moments. The visuals are nothing spectacular. It's very, very standard, and so is the music and sound. The music and sound is just there to help the tone feel like it should, but you don't care to ever hear it again. Behind the scenes gets an 8 out of 10. This is obviously not a very complex story, so it's not going to be that hard to see the narrative structure. The introduction to the mom and child is fine and dandy. You understand where they're coming from. You understand their chemistry, even though the chemistry itself isn't phenomenal. It's just fine. The inciting incident is obviously when the kid gets kidnapped. There's actually a ton of obstacles in the mom's way of getting to her child. Sometimes it feels rushed, sometimes it feels forced, but a lot of the times it's hard to distinguish what's actually going to happen next. It's hard to predict what's going to happen next, which is a nice touch. Good culminating event for the climax, and the falling action calms down, but I wouldn't say it returns to a new sense of norm. 9 out of 10 possible stars for the narrative arc. Like I said from the beginning, I expected something entertaining, but I didn't really expect anything more than that. And to be honest, when I watched the movie, there wasn't a lot of technical things that they got right, but was it entertaining like I expected it to be? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say my jaw was on the ground or my socks have been blown off or anything, but it is perfectly entertaining. The main things that entertainment touches on in this movie are the fun experience and the engaging and the riveting aspect of things. You're going to have a great time while watching it specifically because it is engaging. because it is riveting, because you feel like you can't look away, because so much is actually happening in this movie. Regardless on if it's technically good or technically bad, there's a lot happening. I also don't think anybody would say no to rewatching the movie again. They're not against it. I wouldn't say they would love it so much that they want to watch it again right away. Nothing like that. But it is rewatchable. The only things I would say is I would have no impulse to buy or own it, and I have no impulse to talk about it or recommend it to others who haven't seen it. Entertainment category gets 5 out of 10 possible stars. Specialty category, what do you expect to find out of Kidnap? I think we've all seen Halle Berry in about a million things at this point, so where does she compare in this film? Like I said, I think she's trying very, very hard in her role, and you can kind of tell when you're watching the movie that she is indeed trying. In her entire slew of films, this is not going to be that memorable. You're not going to think about this movie when you think about Halle Berry. But because she did an okay job, because she was clearly trying from beginning to end, I will at least give this half points. 5 out of 10 possible stars. As a thriller, is it thrilling? If absolutely nothing else, this is what I will give the movie credit for. It is thrilling. There's a lot happening in this movie, and your heart is kind of pounding just because you never really know what they're gonna do next. That deserves praise. 10 out of 10. This is also listed as a drama, so you're looking for something with emotional impact, with something that sucks the audience in on some kind of emotional level. This I'm gonna have to say no to. I get the idea that your kid is kidnapped, and I'm a father, and I wouldn't want my own son being kidnapped, but the presentation, the performance of what's actually going on here when the kid's actually kidnapped doesn't make me feel like I believe it actually happened. Never once was I disengaged to the point where I felt for this mom going after her kid. I was just watching a production. I was watching a movie from beginning to end. 0 out of 10. Halfway decent. Did they make the movie they intended to make from the get-go? Yeah, I would be shocked if the creators of this movie, if the director, the writers of this movie, if any of them actually thought this movie was going to win awards or get nominated or anything. It was clearly not the point. The point was just to have a heck of a lot of fun with it, and I think they succeeded in doing that, so I'm going to give that 10 out of 10. The specialty category gets 25 out of 40 possible stars. If we add up all those points, we get 61 out of 100 possible stars, 61%, which is fine and dandy. I know it doesn't seem like the greatest score in the world, but obviously technicalities made this movie a little bit worse than it probably could have been.
And now time for TLDR.
Kidnap is exactly the kind of movie you expect it to be. It is a lot of fun, but it has a lot of problems at the same time. Guys, tell me what you thought of Kidnap in the comments down below, and for YouTube, you know you can subscribe to me. Hit that like button and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, and until then, peace out.